Hello and welcome to another lecture video on psychological assessment. For this video, we will be discussing about achievement and aptitude testing. So for this video, this will be the outline. So first we will have the definitions for achievement and aptitude, and then we will discuss three different tests. So you have DAT, Flanagan Industrial Tests, and Philippine Aptitude Classification Test. So let's begin. Achievement tests are designed to measure the degree of learning that has taken place as a result of exposure to a relatively defined learning experience. So again, achievement tests or the contents or coverage of this test is relative no, as to one's learning experience. It could be math achievement test. So for example, fifth grade math achievement test would only be about math discussed in the fifth grade. So again, relatively defined learning experience. And so in a way, your departmental's exam could serve as an achievement test because again, it measures your learning of the theories discussed in TOP1 and even TOP2. So achievement tests may be standardized or not standardized at all. So our quizzes or exams in class may be considered as a non-standardized achievement test. No? But we also have the standardized ones that our guidance offices or other testing centers use. Then we also have aptitude tests. So for achievement test, it basically measures one's learning experience. So it has something to do with formal education. For aptitude tests, on the other hand, it tends to focus more on informal learning or life experiences. And so it measures potential for acquiring a specific skill. And this is important in especially for clients, for example, students who are still wondering what course they would be taking for college. And so aptitude tests in a way could guide them because it will measure which specific fields do they have potentials for excelling, maybe in clerical work, maybe in business, maybe in other fields, in arts or whatsoever. And so again, this is useful for career counseling and other um, other uses for aptitude tests. So the first test that we will be discussing is DAT or Differential Aptitude Test. So what is DAT? So DAT is a battery of tests. Again, this is a long test designed to measure students' ability to learn or to succeed in a number of different areas. So DAT is used to predict academic performance and non-academic performance such as occupation-related performance. So DAT is useful because it is used to identify candidates for hiring, training, and career development in any organizational setting. And so this is very important to guide clients, especially students, in choosing a career, or maybe recruiters to choose who among the candidates have the potential to perform the task in the company. Now, the DAT is designed for 7th to 12th graders and some adults' ability to learn or to succeed in certain areas. So again, this is the scope of DAT. Now, DAT per test is administered or can be accomplished within 6 to 20 minutes per test. Again, DAT refers to a battery, so there are different tests given to a client. So all in all, if the test user decided to administer all of the battery of tests, so it usually takes around 2 hours for complete battery testing. So the test user actually could um, choose as to which specific test the client should take. Again, but if you choose to administer all of the tests, then it could take around 2 hours. So this could be administered individually or by group. So the good thing with DAT is that a lot of people could take this. Now there are other ability tests such as individual intelligence test, which can only be administered to one person at a time. And so it could, take a toll on testing administration. No? So if the user would administer, for example, ways, so the test user or the psychologist could only entertain one client at a time. But for DAT, it could be administered for several people. So DAT can be administered using paper and pencil format or can be computer administered. This is a test given to 16 years and older. And all of the total test or total battery of tests contains 510 items. So DAT comprises two levels. Again, level 1 is designed for grades 7 to 9, while level 2 is designed for grades 10 to 12. But again, it can still be used for adults. So this test assesses 8 important aptitudes. So you have verbal reasoning, you have numerical reasoning, you have abstract reasoning, you have perceptual speed and accuracy, mechanical reasoning, space relations, spelling, and language usage. So here are the different key areas for DAT. So again, the subtests, the 8 subtests, are further classified or categorized into 3 key areas. So you have general cognitive abilities, which is composed by verbal reasoning and numerical ability. And so this area measures, or these tests measure the ability to learn in either an occupational or training setting, and specifically the ability to learn from books and manuals, self-instructions, trainers, teachers, so things like that. No? So again, so these are the subtests that is used to measure those things. Next are perceptual abilities, which is comprised by abstract reasoning, mechanical reasoning, and space relations. So these tests measures test abilities that are important when dealing with things rather than people or with words. And lastly, clerical and language skills, which is comprised by spelling, language usage, and clerical speed and accuracy. So the test skills necessary to perform various types. Okay. So again, what are the different subtests? You have verbal reasoning, appropriate for measuring general cognitive ability and for placing employees in professional, managerial, and other positions requiring higher order thinking skills. Same goes with numerical ability. So it measures understanding of numerical relationships and facility in handling numerical concepts. So this is very useful for applicants on professions related to physical sciences, for example, physics and mathematics. Next is the abstract reasoning, which is a nonverbal measure of the ability to perceive relationships in abstract figure patterns. And this is useful in selection when the job requires perception of relationships among things rather than words or numbers. Next is clerical speed and accuracy. So this measures the speed of response in a simple perceptual task, and this is important for jobs such as filing and coding, and for jobs involving technical and scientific data. Next is mechanical reasoning. So this measures the ability to understand basic mechanical principles of machinery, tools, and motion. And this is crucial for applicants in jobs such as carpentry, in mechanics, maintenance worker, and as an assembler. Next is space relations, which measures the ability to visualize a 3-dimensional object from a 2-dimensional pattern and how the object would look if rotated in space. So this ability is important in fields such as drafting, clothing design, architecture, art, dye making, decorating, carpentry, and dentistry. So those are just few of the fields which would benefit that specific subtest. Spelling measures the applicant's ability to spell common English words, which is a basic skill necessary for success in a wide range of jobs in business, journalism, proofreading. And so if somebody applies for these jobs, so the recruiter can administer the subtest on spelling. And lastly, you have language usage, which measures the ability to detect errors in grammar, punctuation, and capitalization. So when language usage and spelling are both administered, they provide a good estimate of the ability to distinguish correct from incorrect English usage, which is important in not just business communication, but in other fields that uses English as a primary mode for communication. So that's the DAT. The next test that we would discuss is the Flanagan Industrial Tests, or FIT. So the Flanagan Industrial Tests are also a set of 18 short tests designed specifically for use with adults in personnel selection programs for a wide variety of jobs. Now, they are based on the identified job elements. Each represents a distinct functions. Now, for the Flanagan offers again 18 individually sold tests that are designed to help measure distinct aptitudes or functions important to a variety of industrial positions. So again, each test would measure different fields. And so this could be administered using a paper and pencil test. So this could be used separately or in any combination. So again, you as a test user, depending on the referral, has the liberty or the autonomy to use whatever combination of the 18 tests in order for you to measure what is asked for the referral or whatsoever. Each test usually takes around 5 to 15 minutes to complete, and this is administered to adults. So this is useful for applications in a company. So what are the 18 job elements in FIT? So you have arithmetic, you have assembly, components, coordination, electronics, expression, ingenuity, inspection, judgment and comprehension. You also have mathematics and reasoning, mechanics, memory, patterns, planning, precision, scales, tables, and vocabulary. So these are the 18 job elements in Flanagan, and it's really up to you as to what specific combinations you would use in administering to a specific client. So again, depending on the referral. And lastly, we have the Philippine Aptitude Classification Test. So the PACT is an instrument developed to cater the need for a comprehensive system of identifying specific abilities of high school students for the purpose of educational and vocational guidance. Again, most of the aptitude achievement tests, they are used to guide students, used to guide people in choosing a career, educational, whether pursuing a course or a vocational degree or whatsoever. So again, it's very useful. So the PACT is a battery, again, another battery of aptitude tests with multiple choice items which are largely dependent on innate abilities and minimally on academic experience. So there are 18 scorable subtests. So the final form of PACT consists of two parts. So part 1 is comprised of 2 speeded tests with a total of 30 items and a testing time of 4 minutes. Part 2 consists of 16 power tests with a total of 210 items and an hour and 45 minutes for testing time. So again, 2 parts, speeded tests, which are composed of 30 items. So for speeded tests, there is a very short time limit, thus the name speeded test. So you need to accomplish as many items of the 30 items within 4 minutes. For the power tests, however, although there is an allotted 1 hour and 45 minutes, but again, they are also very, or a lot of items. So there are 200 items for you to accomplish within an hour and 45 minutes. So a total of 240 items, and total testing time is 1 hour and 45 minutes. So here are the subtests for PACT. So part 1 is matching letters or numbers, and for matching, which measures perceptual speed. And then for part 2 again, so for part 1, these are speeded tests. There are 30 items. Well, for part 2, there are 210. And then part 2 is a power test. No? So again, more items, but again, more time given for accomplishing the test. So part 2, you have vocabulary analogies, which measures verbal English. You have numeric, number series, and figural reasoning for general reasoning. You also have paper form board and hidden figures for flexibility of closure. You have talasalitaan, mga salitang magkaugnay for verbal Filipino. Hidden blocks 1, hidden blocks 2 for spatial closure. You have patterns, mechanical motion, and assembly for visualization. And figure series and proofreading for perceptual acuity. So these are the different subtests, and there are 8 aptitude factor scores that you would yield from the PACT test. And that ends this video. So thank you for listening.